Good evening. Your Royal Highness, my lords and ladies, Your Grace, the Archbishop of Canterbury, Chief Rabbi, brothers and sisters, friends, let me start with a greeting of peace. Shalom Aleichem, Assalamu Alaikum, and peace be with you. Now, how amazing is it to be here tonight, and how unfair it is for me to follow speeches from the Archbishop of Canterbury and then the Chief Rabbi. But you know, it's not often you're at an event that is historic, and all of you should realize that we are, all of us, sharing a historic experience here tonight. We are in Lambeth Palace with the Archbishop, with the Chief Rabbi, and we are making history. Now look, I know the Chief Rabbi has a great job. I know the Archbishop has a great job. Many of you may have great jobs, but this is the reason why I have the best job in the world. And I want to begin by saying this is a great, great night for us tonight. And thank you, Harris, for your warm introduction. Harris, for those of you who don't know, is getting married later tonight. Which can be the only reason he's dressed like that. But his late father was my headmaster, and was someone who was a real role model to me when I was growing up. He was the first ever Asian, the first ever Muslim head teacher in the United Kingdom. And Mr. Bukhari made me realize early on that skin color or background should never be a barrier to making something of your life and striving for your dreams. And I owe him a great deal, and I'm sure I wouldn't be where I am today without his mentorship. He was a great man, and he would have been astonished that his son would dress like that and not be getting married. And I'm grateful, Harris, for you making me laugh with what you wear. But you know, Nelson Mandela once said, the most powerful weapon to change the world is education. And it's great to welcome students from the Westminster Academy, the Jewish Free School, the King Solomon High School, and you'll forgive me for being biased, the best school in the world, Ernest Bevin, my old school. And I'm sorry that I'm keeping many of you from the football match tonight, England versus Iceland. So I'll keep my speech short, not just because you might want to catch a bit of the game later on, but because as someone who's fasting, I don't want to be that guy who goes on and on and on and delays everyone from breaking their fast on time. And as those of you who share my faith will understand, Ramadan this year is particularly tough. For those of you who don't realize this, but the lunar calendar we follow means Ramadan moves back 12 days each year, and we're now at the height of the long summer days. This means a lot of our fasts are up to 19 hours long, and it's tough. Although, spare a thought for the people in Iceland, not because of the football tonight, but because when Ramadan falls in the summer there, it's light 24 hours a day. But instead of people fasting non-stop for a month, they're allowed to follow the time in Mecca, the fasting times in Mecca, which is obviously a lot easier, as it only means fasting for around 12 hours instead of 24. And I was telling Baroness Farsi this earlier, who's in the audience, and she said maybe that's why Muslims, as well as mums, go to Iceland. I want to thank the Archbishop of Canterbury and his wife Caroline for hosting us all this evening in these beautiful surroundings of Lambeth Palace. Here around you, we have 100 young people from every corner of London, as Harris said, from different faiths and backgrounds coming together and breaking bread together. And that's what makes me so proud to be your mayor. And tonight is a great example of what makes our city the greatest city in the world. Our openness and our diversity, and realizing that we have more in common than that which sets us apart. Take Ramadan. Having empathy for one another is what the month of Ramadan is all about. It's a month of sacrifice, reflection, and humility. And about putting yourself, as the Chief Rabbi said, in the shoes of others. And having empathy, being your brother and sister's keeper, is the golden thread that runs through so many faiths. The Prophet Muhammad, peace be upon him, he said, "Not one of you is a believer until he desires for another that which he desires for himself." And by the way, desires for another, not desires for another Muslim, desires for another. In the Bible, when asked what the greatest commandment was, Jesus replied, "Love thy neighbor." Not love thy Christian neighbor, love thy neighbor. Jewish teaching states, what is hateful to you, do not do to your fellow man. That is the law. All the rest is commentary. And it's not just Islam, Christianity, and Judaism. From Buddhism to Sikhism to Hinduism and beyond, being united rather than divided is central to the teaching of so many faiths. Yet, as the Archbishop said, in recent days and weeks, these principles that are so central to our faiths have been put to the test. There is no doubt that the last couple of weeks have been difficult for our city and our country. What happened to my friend Jo Cox shocked us all. And it's so important to remind ourselves that in Jo's first speech in Parliament a year ago, she talked about how communities are far more united than the things that divide us. And I'd like to think that iftars like this, like the one we're having tonight, which can help form new friendships and bring people together, is a testament to this view and a way of honouring Jo's memory. It's also been, as the Archbishop said, a few days since the referendum result. And the result has led to a lot of uncertainty facing young people. A huge 3/4, 75% of young people voted to remain in the European Union. I know many of you are worried about the future of you and your friends who are here from France, from Spain, from Poland, and other European countries. And I want to send a clear message to you and the near million European friends and neighbours here in London. You are welcome here. And whatever your views, we all now have a huge responsibility to seek to heal the divisions that emerged through what was a horribly negative campaign. And just as Jo said, to focus on that which unifies us rather than divides us. And you know, when my mum and dad first came to this country, there were signs up where they lived. And the sign said, no blacks, no Irish, and no dogs. Now, my mum saw her children being racially abused and getting into fights, yet her grandchildren haven't had the same experience. And that's why I'm so optimistic for our city. If we put in the work to get to know each other, if we put in the work to understand one another, to respect one another. And Ramadan is a great opportunity to do things in our communities and break down the mystery and suspicion that can surround the faith of Islam, a faith I share with over 1 million Londoners. So I've been making it my priority this month to get out there and build bridges by hosting Ramadan meals across London at synagogues, churches, and mosques. Last week, I was at St. James's Palace Church in Piccadilly, where they do incredible work with homeless people, partnered with the West London Synagogue and the Muslim group City Circle. And just yesterday, I was at the Finchley Reformed Synagogue to break my fast amongst Londoners of many different faiths. And they have an incredible story of friendship and interfaith work at that synagogue. Just days after drummer Lee Rigby was murdered in 2013, the Bravanese Somalian Community's Islamic Centre was burnt down in a racist arson attack. And graffiti praising the English Defence League, EDL, was found on a nearby building. In response, the local synagogue opened its doors to the community and offered a space for prayer during the month of Ramadan to their Muslim brothers and sisters. And now each year, we should clap. And now each year, an annual iftar is observed in the synagogue to celebrate new friendships within that local community. And in a city like ours, the best way for people to understand each other's faith and to feel comfortable in each other's company is to share experiences, just like the example we saw in North Finchley and just like we're doing here today. And I want to end by quoting an Islamic scholar called Ibn al-Jawzi, who in a famous poem once said, "I have not seen a flaw in people as great as the flaw of the able not reaching their potential." And whilst London is a diverse and tolerant city, improving social integration is still one of the big challenges we face if we want to reach our potential as a city. And as young people, you have a crucial role to play. So I encourage you to get out there and mix with people in your communities, at school, at college, at university, at work, in your places of worship. Talk to people who you see every day, but only usually walk past and share a glance. Yes, we have the most diverse city in the world, but we don't have enough people mixing as much as they could. Tonight's event is a great example, and I hope we can do it again next year. And I look forward to the rest of the evening and to breaking my fast with all of you tonight. Thank you very much.